Now, the SACP Central Committee has discussed economic and financial issues facing the country this weekend. Meeting every 4 months, the Central Committee is the party's highest decision-making body. eNCA's Moloko Moloto was at the meeting and he joins us now. Moloko, thank you so much for coming in studio. Let's unpack what is on the agenda for this weekend's plenary sitting. What were the most pertinent issues?
Hello, Refile. Well, there were several issues the Central Executive Committee of the SACP discussed. Of course, they put that on a statement. One of the things that they said, interestingly, they contradicted President Cyril Ramaphosa and Finance Minister Tito Mboweni, who expressly said that the past 9 years under former President Jacob Zuma were wasted 9 years. And they said, no, we don't think that's the case. In fact, there has been serious strides that were made. For instance, they said investment on infrastructure, the increase in the life expectancy due to the rollout of HIV treatment, but also in terms of the investment in education and skills development. Of course, they touched on the issue of state capture. Absolutely. To say that despite all those achievements that they allude to, the issue of state capture is a problem. And on ESCOM, they said that they do not support any calls to privatize ESCOM. They believe that any attempt they agree that it needs to be restructured, but that process should be done in consultation with the workers as well as the stakeholders that are involved, and they don't support the shedding of jobs.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's talk about specifically. You've touched on the SOEs. Let's talk about the economy in depth. What were the specific resolutions that came of the plenary settings? Obviously, the country not being in a good state at all.
Well, I must admit, they did not go into detail as to what type of interventions ought to be taken. But of course, they do support, for instance, ownership of the state in the state-owned enterprises. They don't support privatization of these entities at all. And still on ESCOM, they took offense. You remember the former executive of ESCOM, Machela Koko, is all over on social media criticizing ESCOM, and they are saying, look, this is the person who's been at the center, and yet he's now repositioning himself as the savior of ESCOM. And they are calling on all the people who are implicated for the law to take its course. Interestingly, on the issue of the acting ANC spokesperson, Zizigoto, you know, there are rape allegations against him. Then we asked them to say, what is your view? And they said, look, we believe that the law enforcement agencies must come in and investigate the matter. However, as the SACP, they say they are warning against the abuse of gender-based violence by certain people to fight factional battles. And they went on to say...
So at some point, almost alluding to the fact that in terms of, if we go back to the Bulemabe case, the young lady involved in that saying there have been allegations that the Cyril Ramaphosa camp paid her an amount. Are they alluding that this isn't actually political machinations as opposed to a legitimate case?
Well, interestingly, I don't remember the SACP. It could be that they did, but I don't remember them speaking out when Bulemabe was going through that process. But in this case, it was not only because we as journalists asked them what their opinion is regarding Zizigodo, because in the written statement, they said we are warning against the abuse of gender-based violence to fight factional battles. And then I personally asked to say, regarding Zizigodo's issue, what's your position there? And they then went on to elaborate and said, that was played in Zimande, that we just hope that it's not the allegations. Okay, so far the allegations are just that, allegations, but we hope they are not a hoax. And that tells a lot.
Thank you so much for your time. Interesting to see the SACP moving from matters of economy, politics, and then very specifically looking at possible infighting within the ruling party. Well, heavyweight musician